Let's talk about the Bears. They lost a thriller late against the Rams after an interception in overtime by Caleb Williams. He was asked about it yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
Small things like that show up in those moments that you may not have talked about, but being on the same page or talking about it, maybe week 1 or week 6, it shows up in week 18 or whatever week we're in, and so it's something that to learn from for myself, a learning experience. It's something for us to learn from as an offense and as a team, and we'll go do that at some point.
I mean, he made some incredible throws, but in the same token, even just moments before. Dan, what went wrong, though, ultimately for the Bears?
Short yardage.
Yeah.
They lost the game because of short yardage, situational football. And credit the Rams defense. They made some really impressive plays in those moments, but they were good on early downs. But the reality was this is kind of what this team has been this year. I mean, in the first 3 quarters throughout the season, when it comes to the games, they're minus 4 points. And so they kept giving themselves well, we can get it done in the fourth quarter. We'll make the miracle plays in the fourth quarter. And obviously, Caleb makes that one miracle play. But it is a reminder of hey, a little bit of a too little, too late type of thing. And so I think the aggression on 3rd and 4th down were the right calls out of Ben Johnson to be in that mindset. They just didn't get it done in really any of them to swing the momentum of the football game.
So, look, obviously Caleb had his ups and downs over the course of the game, culminating with a throw that was an unbelievable up, and that has to be acknowledged. But I think what surprised me the most, not just in this game, but in the previous game, was the Bears' inability to run the ball in the postseason the way they did during the regular season. 2 of their worst games of the year in success rate on running back runs happened in the wild card round and the divisional round. And while I do think the Rams' run defense deserves a ton of credit, I thought the backers were fantastic in this one in particular, as well as the DBs. If you had told me during the regular season, Dan, that the Bears would get to 1st and 5 at the goal line and not punch it in, I would not have believed you, quite frankly. And so, I think just thinking as to why they didn't get to the NFC Championship, that's something that I would point to. This team did not live up to their regular season reputation on the ground in the playoffs when it mattered the most.
Yeah, I think that's why we saw Ben get down there and go run, pass. I don't know a lot of people were critical of that, but if you're Ben Johnson, why would you not have? I would say this, something to pay attention to, because we were just talking about this with Seattle and Cooper Kupp and his willingness to be on the perimeter and blocking. You've seen it impact JSN and Shaheed. I do think that Chicago is in need of that wide receiver that just is that I'm going to do the dirty work in the run game, the Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Cooper Kupp.
Did they kind of think Rome Odunze was going to do more of that? Or?
I do, but Rome is a guy that kind of slips off the block on that 3rd and goal and allows Swift to jump and get hit by the defensive back. So I just think for the evolution of this offense, you need that outside perimeter player to be that nasty Jawan Jennings type of blocker, because that takes the run game to the next level all the time.
To what you guys are saying, the 1.5 yards before contact per rush Sunday versus the Rams, their 3rd lowest of the season. Certainly a departure from what we had seen. All right, new on NFL Live, interesting. The Packers have released cornerback Trevon Diggs, making him a free agent when the new league year begins on March 11th. Of course, free agency will be here before we know it. Diggs played 2 games in Green Bay after being released by the Cowboys in late December. We'll see where he ends up next. Sean McVay will turn 40 on Saturday. Happy B-Day. The day before the NFC Championship game in Seattle. Sunday, he became the first head coach in NFL history to reach 10 playoff wins before turning 40 years old. It really is remarkable. In fact, the previous youngest to reach 10 playoff wins was Don Shula, who had just turned 44 when he picked up his 10th win in Super Bowl 8. But after Sunday's overtime win over the Bears, McVay didn't hold back, criticizing his own coaching.
I did not like the feel for the flow of the game that I had outside of the first, series where our guys did a great job defensively. It kept us in it in spite of how, poor of a job I did for our group. But like I said, I'm really grateful for this group being able to find a way, stick with it, and be able to overcome some bad coaching by me tonight.
I mean, he can laugh about it because they won. Obviously, he's going to adjust some things. But
secure enough to admit it, too.
Yeah, no, I love that. Honestly, it was a great bite. Mina, what were the biggest challenges for McVay and his offense on Sunday?
Yeah, going back and rewatching, two things surprised me. One, that they didn't run the ball more, honestly, given Stafford's shakiness and also some of the lapses in pass protection I saw. And then the fact that it took them so long to find answers against those DB blitzes over the first three quarters. Talked about this on Monday, Dan, but they just didn't. Stafford took 3 sacks, no completions until the fourth quarter. And this is actually an issue over the course of the season. So Stafford faces single DB blitzes quite a bit, probably because the Rams play in those condensed formations that are vulnerable to them. And Dan, over the course of the season, 33rd in completion percentage, 33rd in on-target percentage when defenses send the DB. So there are answers to that, and eventually they got to them, but I was surprised looking back that it took them so long, given that this has been an issue over the course of the year as well.
Yeah, good thing. Not something worried about against Seattle. Ironic, joking. It ends up winning them the game, though, finally,
yeah,
to
we'll
Puka,
hit that on Friday.
having the plan. I agree. I don't think Sean was good. I don't think Matthew saw the field well. I thought he missed throws that you would just never see him miss. But I think the bigger takeaway that has me a lot more concerned was some of just the blown protection issues that they had when they have the proper communication and numbers just blowing it. So they've got 3 people up top. The Rams send 3 offensive linemen that way. They don't block one of them. This is an offensive line that's been one of the best pass protecting units in football. This is at the bottom of the screen. They bring an edge pressure. They have 6. The Rams have 6. Kyron Williams, one of the best pass protecting backs in football, runs completely by Brisker. That's a blown protection situation. Once again, they only have 5 Chicago blitzing. The Rams have 6. They leave one player off the edge completely unblocked. This was a very abnormal thing. And then the right tackle finally steps out, even though the back's going that way, and just gets beat on an inside stunt. The thing for me, it was the same pressure all the time for Chicago. And so for a team that's been so good at it this year, and for a team that is playing so late into the season with such an experienced offensive line, that would be something that would have my attention way, way, way more if I'm the Rams going up against Seattle than concerned about is Sean going to have his fastball when it comes to calling a game.
Yeah, Stafford's 11 off-target throws on Sunday, tied for his most since joining the Rams. That's just how off he was. All right.